Good morning, students. Today I am going to teach class 8 students, subject English, a very interesting poem, and that poem is When I Heard the Learned Astronomer. This poem has been written by Walt Whitman, and it is a narrative poem. It is a short narrative poem about learning against experiencing. True knowledge can be gained when we observe it. So, students, so many times you are advised, you are suggested to learn anything after observing, after understanding. When you don't observe it, the true knowledge can't come to you. You can gain knowledge, but you can't get the true knowledge. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I sitting heard the astronomer, where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room. Students, it is a poem about an astronomer. What happened? One day the poet was sitting in the lecture room of an astronomer. The astronomer was undoubtedly intelligent. He was an intellectual. He was a learned astronomer. And he had talents to impress all the people, to impress all the audience by his intellectuals, by his knowledge. He was explaining about the mathematical calculation. He was explaining about his theories by taking the help of charts and diagrams. All the people assembled in the lecture room of the learned astronomer were excited and happy. They were also satisfied. And the poet was also sitting in that lecture room. He was also listening very carefully to the lecture of the learned astronomer along with other audience. And in a fine way, in a very simple way, in an impressive way, the astronomer impressed all the assembled people by his knowledge, by his wisdom, by his way of explaining. And all the people were satisfied. All the people started praising the learned astronomer because they were satisfied. So in the lecture room, all the people assembled started praising, started applauding. But I don't know what happened with me. I was feeling bored. I was not satisfied. I was not feeling good in that lecture room, though all except me, all but me were satisfied. They were listening very carefully, and at interval they started praising the lecture of the astronomer by clapping or by applauding words. How soon unaccountable. And I don't know what were the reasons. The reasons were not known to me why I was upset. I was not just like the other people presented there. I was not feeling the same the other people felt. I became tired. And I became sick. I felt sick. I was feeling not good. I was feeling sick in that lecture room. And I don't know what were the reasons behind it. So what I did? I stood up. I rose and gliding out. I went out. I left the lecture room because I was not interested. I was not satisfied. And I don't blame the astronomer because the way of explaining, the way of explanation of the astronomer was impressive. Undoubtedly, no doubt. But I don't know what were the reasons why I felt sick, why I felt dissatisfied, why I was not feeling good. I don't know. So, I could not control myself. I could not confine myself to that lecture room. I stood up and went out, leaving that lecture room. I went outside. I went into the lap of nature. I went into the nature. Till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist night air, and from time to time looked up in perfect silence at the stars. It was night time. It was night. The stars were shining, twinkling in the sky. The sky was filled with stars. I looked at the stars and suddenly I realized the position. Suddenly I realized the lecture of the astronomer when I observed the nature. So here, the important thing the students you would mark, as long as the poet was in the lecture room and listening passively to the words, to the lecture of the learned astronomer, he was not able to learn it. He was not able to understand it clearly. Because the poet insists that when he observes the nature, when he observes anything, then he can easily understand. Easily, spontaneously, without any effort, you can achieve wisdom if you observe it. And if you don't observe, you can never attain the wisdom. So students, it is a very small poem. And the poem has been composed in free verse. It is in free verse. What is free verse? Students, free verse means a poetry that does not rhyme or any regular rhythm. This poem has no regular rhythm. The length of the lines are varied. The syllables, stressed and unstressed syllables are varied. The lengths are varied. The stressed and unstressed syllables are varied. And this poem is in free verse. And it is only limited to a single stanza consisting of 8 lines. So through this poem, the poet suggests the readers to observe anything. Because without observation, you cannot gain your achievement, you cannot gain your wisdom. So it is the difference between learning and experiencing. So experiencing is more important than learning. So it is all about this poem. So thank you, students. Now it is over. In my next video, I will teach you lesson 3. Thank you.